Families like three-row SUVs for flexibility. They're great for hauling the neighbor's kid back from lacrosse practice with short notice, but some really aren't all that big. Toyota's Highlander has decent room inside, but you really can't call it grand until now, because there's a new Grand Highlander. I'm on Hawaii's Big Island for a first drive. Toyota now has 3 SUVs with 3 rows of seating competing against each other.
It's an entirely new model.
Why did Toyota borrow the Jeep adjective? Well, neither Highlander or highest lander work. Same with majestic Highlander or ostentatious Highlander. So, Grand Highlander it is. Pricing when it hits showrooms this summer?
The starting MSRP of just over $43,000 for the gas model, impressive fuel efficiency for the hybrid for $1,600 more, and brag-worthy performance for under $55,000 for the Hybrid Max model. It's going to be produced in the U.S. exclusively at Toyota Motor Manufacturing in Princeton, Indiana.
In many cases, this is just $1,000 or $2,000 more than Highlander Classic, but the bigger one isn't available in lower grades. How much grander is this over the standard Highlander? Well, keep in mind, this is built on the same architecture. It's about 6 inches longer, 2 inches wider and higher, with a wheelbase stretched by some 4 inches. It's definitely a size up. It uses the same front suspension. The rear is different to carve more room out of the third row. It looks quite different from Highlander. The rear haunches on the side are smoothed over. Overall, the design is cleaner and simplified, a language that Toyota designers are gravitating to. I'll encourage that. The Grand has the look of a grown-up RAV4 that's become a more responsible family man. Arguably, Kia Telluride is still the looker in this segment. You'll be cross-shopping Buick Enclave, Chevy Traverse, Honda Pilot, Hyundai Palisade, Nissan Pathfinder, and Volkswagen Atlas, to name a few. None of those, including the regular Highlander, offer powertrain choices like the Grand. The base engine is a 2.4-liter turbocharged 4 that makes 265 horsepower and 310 pound-feet of torque. Available in front or all-wheel drive, it shifts with an 8-speed. The standard hybrid is good for 245 horses. With optional all-wheel drive, electric motors move the rear wheels. There's no drive shaft to the back. Then there's the Hybrid Max powertrain, first installed in the Crown sedan. It's what I'm focusing on in a Platinum model. The Turbo 4 from the base engine is augmented by electric motors embedded in a 6-speed transmission. Strictly all-wheel drive with the back tires driven by electric motors. Total system power is 362 horsepower and 400 pound-feet of torque, a significant bump in power, good for hauling lots of people and gear. I am not a fan of the transmission selector. This pre-production car needed real attention when selecting drive and reverse. Manual shifts are a thing, so are drive modes. Chances are owners will leave it in auto, but there are options if families get overly adventurous. Ground clearance is 8 inches. If performance is important, the standard hybrid hits 60 miles an hour in just under 8 seconds. The Turbo 4 takes 7.5. This is the Hybrid Max. It does it in 6.3. It can scoot. The Hybrid Max equipped Grand Highlander weighs about 4,900 pounds. It feels pretty darn good off the line, and punch it. I don't know if you can see it, the front end rises a little bit, so it just looks powerful. And while a strong engine note comes through when the pedal is dropped hard, it's generally quiet. Active noise cancellation, plus laminated acoustical glass in the windshield and front side windows is standard. The driving dynamics are exactly what they should be for a vehicle like this. It's comfortable, that long wheelbase doesn't hurt. It's relatively quiet. This is kind of a rough road. Plus, there's no micro corrections. Steering is locked down on center. Steering is on the light side. This would be a great road trip vehicle for the family. The Big Island's roads have some broken pavement. With no passengers or cargo, the rear suspension skittered a bit over that, but the architecture that Toyota says is strengthened using additional spot welds and adhesives remains solid, and Grand doesn't feel substantially bigger than the smaller version from behind the wheel. The powertrain is super smooth. You'd have to pay close attention to notice any gear shifts. I mean, this is Toyota. It knows how to do hybrid powertrains. And the brake pedal feel when transitioning from regenerative to the actual physical brakes is excellent. And the pedal feel is nice and firm. Want the best fuel economy? Then go with the standard hybrid with an average of 34 miles per gallon for both front and all-wheel drive. The Turbo 4 scores 24 with front drive, 23 with all-wheel drive. The Hybrid Max averages 27 mpg. It uses the electric motors for power. All Grand Highlanders come with a solid suite of ADAS technology that's dubbed Toyota Safety Sense 3.0 that includes stuff like automatic emergency braking and adaptive cruise with an improved, smoother operation. There's an emergency driving stop system that can detect a driver that's not responsive, think medical emergency, and can stop the vehicle automatically. In addition to all of that safety tech, the Platinum here can be had with traffic jam assist, so at speeds under 25 miles an hour, it kind of takes over driving duties, which is great if you're a stressed out parent. It should come as no surprise that I prefer the Hybrid Max powertrain to the Turbo 4 and standard hybrid system. It just feels more confident charging up the hills of the Big Island. It'll tow 5,000 pounds, which is the same as the gas-only model. The standard hybrid's towing limit is 3,500 pounds. I switch between a Limited with a black cabin and this Platinum. I highly prefer the Portobello color interior. Black might hide dirt better, but this is more calming. Platinum's heated and vented leather seats are trimmed with ultra suede for a richer look. Accents are bronze. As far as materials go, Toyota seems to lean towards durability. Even at the top Platinum level, some plastics lack sophistication, especially the trim, though this is a pre-production vehicle. Maybe wait for the upcoming Lexus TX that all wager shares a lot with Grand Highlander. There's a good amount of cubbies to stash the kinds of things that families need as they travel from surfing to hula dancing classes, activities that aren't just limited to Hawaii. Remember, sunscreen is important everywhere. Nearly every seat gets a USB port nearby. Cup holders?
You'll find 13 cup and bottle holders around the cabin, ensuring no one goes without space for their juice or their double espresso caramel macchiato with extra foam. The first row's center console even has a bottle holder large enough to fit a hydro flask or a gas station mega soda cup.
The Platinum comes with enough cameras to shoot both Magnum PI and Hawaii 5.0. A wireless charge pad is standard, same with wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. There are enough hard buttons, so the touchscreen isn't used for everything, and Toyota's new user interface is geared towards using mostly natural voice prompts, so eyes stay on the road. Hey Toyota,
What do you want to do?
is there any good shave ice nearby?
I found 15 results. The first is Mauna Kea Tropical Treats at Waimea.
Full functionality requires a data plan subscription, though, that includes smartphone digital key ability. And then there's this.
Facial recognition. On Platinum models, drivers who choose to opt in will be able to take advantage of the vehicle's driver monitor camera to recognize their face when they hop into the driver's seat. The system will load that driver's profile, including their vehicle settings, such as their radio presets, their driver's seat memory settings, outside rearview mirror, and head-up display positions.
Moving into the section where parents will seldom ever ride, Grand Highlander gets standard captain's chairs. A bench is available on some, but not all versions, so it'll seat either 7 or 8. There's a lot of adjustments here. Passengers should find more than enough room, though leave some space for those in the wayback. Lots of power options for charging electronics. The floor is flat. Hawaiians may not need heated seats very often, but vented seats in row 2 will help keep sweat off of board shorts and aloha shirts. This console can be removed so kids can scamper through to the 3rd row. As expected, this is a thing. There's a big wide footstep, and even with 8 inches of ground clearance, it's fairly easy for even small kids to hike themselves up and into the back. I'm 5'9", and I'm in the middle position, which is raised up a little bit, and I still have enough headroom. Over there, I have a little bit more. Really, if you're going to use the third row on a regular basis, you're going to want the Grand Highlander, okay? Even knee, leg, and foot room is okay. It really is. Usually this is the penalty box. FYI, the mid-row seats are slid about midway. It's amazing how much of a difference there is between this and the regular Highlander, and this space is more usable than the larger Sequoia. Yes, the bench is low, so thigh support is nothing like the first 2 rows, but even 2 adults can ride across town back here. If it's kids, 3 of them are good to go. I know where there's a Costco on the Big Island, but I'm already a half an hour late getting this vehicle back, so no TP trunk test this time. Just my luggage. The regular Highlander is hamstrung when row 3 is used with just 16 cubic feet. Toyota says this 20.6 cubic foot space is good for 7 carry-on suitcases. There's storage under here and a spare tire under this panel. Would be nice to have bag hooks, and motorized backs, petite owners might have issues raising them. As it stands, it's pretty easy to drop them. At this point, there's 58 cubic feet to fill. All seats down, it's just over 97 cubes, and probably long enough to get surfboards in. For comparison, that's 10 more cubic feet than Sequoia, 13 over Highlander. Let's do red light, green light. Green light. The extra room in the Grand Highlander does wonders for usability and livability. It's arguably the best-looking 3-row machine that Toyota sells, inside and out. There's a choice of 3 powertrains, and one of them delivers 34 mpg average. The ride quality, driving dynamics, and relative quietness will encourage road trips. Yellow light. Hybrid Max is an excellent powertrain, but as you might expect, it's less efficient than the standard hybrid. The user interface that keeps getting better with updates requires a data plan for full functionality. Grand Highlander seats up to 8, but the bench is not available in all models. Red light. My eye sees some of the trim panels to be budget grade, even in the Platinum. I find the transmission controller needs very deliberate attention when shifting. The top trims horn in on Lexus pricing, over 60 grand fully loaded. Again, the more usable Grand really doesn't cost much more than Highlander Classic. The extra couple $1,000 are worth it. The only issue, keeping it out of garages, might be the extra 6 inches of length. I think Toyota really has something with the Grand Highlander. For starters, I always felt like the regular version was just a little bit too small to actually use as a real 3-row crossover. And the Sequoia is a body-on-frame truck. It's too much vehicle for a lot of families. This is kind of the sweet spot. Once Highlander loyalists get a look at this grander version, I expect a lot of converts. It's good enough to steal buyers away from Toyota's other 3-row machines, not to mention strong competitions to all others in class. Families that actually use row 3 will find it an everyday vacation with no flying needed. If you want my take on the standard Highlander, I recently did a road trip review, check that out. For eagle-eyed viewers, yes, this is 3 Grand Highlanders in the video. I had to use Toyota's running footage, which is a limited. I shot GoPro stuff and this set of statics in a different limited, and did the rest of the piece in a Platinum. I understand, you might think this is a cakewalk gig, but events can be nuts trying to get what I need to show you folks the right features. Full disclosure, Toyota flew me to this event and put me up, pretty standard in this industry. Considering it was Hawaii, yes, I will admit, it was very nice. To be honest, that makes me more critical. I'm here to give you good information because vehicles are expensive. Turns out, Grand Highlander is a winner. We also got a first look at the new Tacoma on this trip. Check out that video. This truck has been the best-selling vehicle in the 50th state for almost 20 years. And that's vehicle, not just truck, sort of like the Ford F-150 on the mainland. Before I go, just wanted to let you know that one reason why I like coming to these events is I get extra information that I can't get in a press kit. I get to chat up engineers and product planners to find out what they were really thinking when they dreamed a vehicle up. And I asked, why not a completely new name? Because this is different from the Highlander. And basically, they just said, there's too much equity in the Highlander name. They couldn't let it go, so that's why. I think they could have thought of something else other than Grand. It's a little Jeepy, if you know what I mean. Oh well. Thanks for watching. Remember, subscribe to my channel and click notifications. Follow me on social media. I'm on a bunch of them, like Facebook and Twitter. And if you have a question, leave it in the comments. I'll try to get to it. That's Driven. I'm Tom Voelk.